This is day 16 of training like a professional bodybuilder for 30 days to see how much muscle I can put on. And for breakfast today, we're having one of my favorites, everything bagel with bacon, egg, and cheese. It's so good. 30 minutes ago, I had 3 celery sticks, 4 fiber, incredible. I don't have this every morning. I usually have like what you saw in the last video, 5 eggs, but today I was feeling a bagel. The thing is with a bagel, it's like, okay, like what ingredients are in the dough? You know, it's probably not optimally healthy in terms of like using processed ingredients that they probably use for this, but every once in a while, I have a bagel. I love bagels. Because it already has a ton of carbs, it's gonna make my workout that much better. Always consuming carbs before my workout make it way better. Just gives you that extra energy. But because this has more calories than the 5 eggs I would have had, now the rest of the day I'm gonna kind of tailor it around that. My days are always based on what I eat, especially early in the day. I'm eating something that has a lot of calories, a lot of carbs. Then later in the day, I'll plan accordingly. Based on how much protein and carbs this has and how many calories this has, I'll eat slightly less the rest of the day so that I can stay in that slight calorie surplus, which still allows me to continue building muscle without putting on too much fat. Currently at Costco, and it's like 1:49 p.m. and all I've eaten today is the bagel. So we're struggling today, folks. But I did get 50-gram protein shake from Circle K, because I ran out of my protein powder. The downside is that it has a ton of ingredients. Not a huge fan of the whole process thing, but every once in a while, just because I ran out of the protein powder, I'm gonna go to Costco now and just load up on groceries. Let's get to eating. Dude, we have a lot of eating left to do today, and I'm off to a horrible start. I just heated up some marinated chicken with some white rice. It's hot. As I'm burning my mouth, we're gonna be having our daily dose of creatine. Game changer. My fiance made some kind of chili on the slow cooker yesterday. Let's try it. I'm really hoping it's good. It has all this like shredded chicken. It has some black beans, garbanzo beans, but I'm nervous. Let's hope this tastes good. Just heated it up. Let's try this. She's never made this before, or at least not like this. I'm gonna spill the whole, look at that. Look at that shredded chicken. That looks pretty solid, not gonna lie. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. I'd eat this. I'd also like add some meat to it or mix it in with something else, but not terrible. I'm definitely gonna kill this plate. No, it's good though. That's good. I'm gonna kill this plate. I'm not gonna have celery with this because there's already a ton of like garbanzo beans and just beans in general in there, so that should be enough. I've also been thinking a lot about like people thinking for themselves. I think we live in a culture where there's so much social media and just media in general all the time, 24 hours a day. And everyone's just, the screen time that people have on their phones is so high that they leave close to 0 time to just sit with their thoughts or even write down their thoughts, since they're just consuming all day. Like if you're just consuming, and I've been guilty of this too, and I still am, and I'm like consistently trying to work on tapering down my screen time. But if you're just getting bombarded just like a fire hydrant of videos and just consuming social media the majority of the day, it makes it almost impossible to think for yourself. Because what I've caught myself doing is you'll see a bunch of videos about whatever topic that are, you know, convincing you of their ideas or whatever. And so you see a ton of these videos, and as you're seeing these videos, you feel like you have a pretty good understanding of it until you actually try to vocalize it to someone in real life. And then that's when you realize, and I've caught myself doing this, you realize you don't know it at all. Like you thought you knew it, but you haven't actually thought it through and developed it. And that's, I feel like, where so many people are nowadays. Everyone's consuming so much content all the time and never just sitting alone with themselves with no stimulation, or sitting alone with a journal to actually write down what they think about things and develop deep thought. That like recently I had a conversation with like a few people, and we were talking about some topic, and they gave me like the typical, you know, the typical answers you hear on social media about these things. And once I asked them more about it, like they couldn't tell me anything else, because it was just, they're just like repeating what they saw, but they hadn't actually developed a thought themselves. They were just repeating what they heard. So once you ask them a question that goes a little deeper into under the surface, they don't have an answer for it. So I feel like now for me, I'm trying to really knock back. This is gonna get cold. Just taper down my screen time so that when I'm either listening to certain podcasts or reading a book, after I'm done with that, I'll just sit with no stimulation and either write it down, write about it, like journal about it, or just sit there and really develop my thoughts and just sit there with my thoughts in silence. And I've noticed that gradually it's actually allowed me to develop my own way of thinking. I think at the end of the day, what's most important is that everyone develops their own way of thinking. You consume all this content, that's fine, whatever. Even though the majority of the content you should be consuming should be, you know, productive, actually adding to your life. But everyone should set some time apart, whether this be in meditation or sitting in silence or sitting down and journaling, but just sitting with themselves and developing their own way of thinking about things, so that you're not just influenced by all this external noise of what everyone else is saying, and so you don't just become an echo of everyone else, you know, because there's no independence in that. That's not actually what you think about things. You're just echoing what someone else said, you know, you're just repeating what someone else said. It's not your actual thought, and it's hard at first because I keep wanting to grab my phone out of habit of just doom scroll on social media, but I'm gradually I'm starting to catch myself. But so far it's been productive, and it's actually, I'm starting to notice a difference. I feel like now I'm able to hold better conversations about my opinions, you know, because they're based on what I think and not just on what someone else said. Anyway, I need to finish this. Thank you, fiance, for this. You already know, Greek yogurt with berries and stevia. There are a few things I've been eating pretty much every single day, and this is one of them. With this though, if you saw my last video, you'll know, celery. Fiber, massively important for digestion and decreasing your blood sugar spike, really helping your insulin response. Very, very good for you. I learned it when I read the book, Why We Get Sick. Highly recommend. You see, even though this is delicious, I'm not very hungry right now, but because of the goal we have, trying to put on as much muscle as possible in 30 days, we gotta eat. And this applies to all facets of life. When you have a goal, purpose, a North Star, it makes discipline so much easier because you have that mission. If you miss a meal or if you miss a workout, you don't hit your protein goal, it matters. It matters because you're gonna fall short of your goal. If you're not striving for anything, or there's not a general purpose, you know, in your life that you're aiming towards, it's easy to not go to the gym that day, not eat that healthy, eat that fast food, because there's nothing to work towards. There's no consequences, there's no anything, there's no accountability. This challenge is keeping me very accountable. In total weight, I've already gained like 2-3 pounds, and this is the strongest I have felt in a while. I have a feeling it's all the protein we're eating. For dinner, we're gonna be having some of the grass-fed ground beef patties I made yesterday, white rice, classic, and 3 celery sticks. Fiber. And of course, some kimchi for the gut health. If you saw my last video, this is fermented cabbage. This is all I have left of the salsa, since I've been using it with just about everything. That's incredible. Adding salsa to anything makes it 10 times better. We had eggs, protein shake, chicken, 110 grams, yogurt, which brings us up to 130 grams of protein, and this is gonna be like 180. We're gonna hit probably 180 grams of protein, which is perfect. That's exactly where I want to sit. I will say though, I'm not really that hungry right now. I'm not someone with like a big appetite. I know like most guys have massive appetites. I don't get it. I don't know if it's because my food doesn't taste as good, so I have to make an effort to eat all this so that you can really build that muscle. We're sitting at a slight calorie surplus with plenty of protein, which is gonna be ideal for building muscle while avoiding just packing on a bunch of fat. Because if you just bulk, like a classic bulk where you just eat an insane amount of calories, what happens is, yeah, of course you'll end up gaining a ton of weight and you'll build muscle, but you'll end up building a ton of excess fat, a ton, which will cause you to then have to cut later on. So what I'm doing right now is I'm sitting in a slight surplus, which means it allows me to build that muscle and really limit any additional fat that I'm building so that I stay pretty lean while also putting on some size. That's my goal. That's why I'm not just like going in insane dirty bulk and just putting on a ton of weight, because I don't want to put on a ton of excess fat and then have to cut. That sucks.